Hello, I'm Helen from Journal with Purpose and welcome to my latest YouTube video. Today I'm going to share an update on what journals I'm using along with some of my sketchbooks and really just talk through what I'm using and how often. It looks kind of quite overwhelming when it's all laid out on my desk, but I certainly don't use all of these every day by any stretch of the imagination. But I thought you might find it helpful if I shared kind of what I use and how often I use it. So there's a couple of things I use on a daily basis, and the first one is my Hobonichi, and that's because I use it as my planner. So it's always open on my desk, always on the go. It's where it has all of my daily task lists, everything that I'm hoping to get done and my monthly schedule. And I've shared quite a few different flip throughs of my Hobonichi on my channel, so you're hopefully quite familiar with that, but if not, you can have a look through. I bought the Hobonichi cousin Avec, which comes in 2 parts. So this was the first part of the year, and now we're in July. We've moved on to this one. So this is definitely something I use every day for my tasks, and then I reflect on how the day has been. The only other thing which I always use on a daily basis is my daily journal, and I keep that inside my traveller's notebook cover. And I've recently shared a flip through of this. It's 6 months in each insert. So again, this is where I just write down a few thoughts from every single day and then a little summary at the end of the week. So because I've just finished that insert, I've now popped another one in here, and I've just finished my first week in there. Behind this insert, I've got another 2. As you can see, I've been in this one since July 23, and actually I've hardly used it. The last time I've used it is January 24. So this is just an as and when journal. I really like the size of it. I used to do a lot more actually in this size of journal, but I've just been moving on to other things recently, but I've no doubt at some point I will come back to it. And this craft insert I've been using for years now. We've got this back to 2019, 2018, and I've still got a reasonable amount of pages left to go. And again, I've no doubt at some point I'm going to be in the mood for coming back and creating in here. The last time I used it was October 23. But it's a fun journal to have, and say I can fit them all in this cover. So I just leave them there for whenever I'm in the mood for them. So another journal I use fairly frequently is my Moleskine Creative Journal. And this one typically I use for prompt journaling. Each month on Patreon I share a list of prompts which is a combination of writing and creative prompts. So I just kind of try out all sorts of different things in here, but it tends to have maybe 50% of a creative element and 50% writing. And I probably use this anything between about 8 and 12 times a month. So typically it's when I've got a bit more time and there's something I really want to explore and try out in my journal. It's actually one of my favourite types of journaling to do. This is the sort of thing I would do all the time if I had more time. So it tends to be perhaps if I know I've got a spare hour or two and I really want to perhaps dive a bit deeper into one of the topics that's on my journal prompts from that month. And I rarely get through all of the prompts that I release on Patreon each month, but when I have got that bit of time, I look through and just pick some of the ones that I really want to focus on. This is my Dilutions art journal, and this one I've been using for Wanderlust this year. I have shared a flip through of some of the pages from this. So this I use once a week when the new Wanderlust class comes out, or if I'm a bit behind, sometimes I'll do catch up in it. But so this is something I usually use once a week at the weekend and just get all my art supplies out and play and have fun in here. Another journal that I love but haven't done nearly enough of recently, just because of time. It's impossible to keep up on top of all of these journals on a regular basis, but this is my junk journal. So I started this in September 23 and I've nearly completed it. I've got lots in here, so I've only got a few pages left to go in here. And it's something I'll definitely share a flip through of when I'm done. And I've really enjoyed creating in here. So it's just, I just go to whichever journals I'm feeling drawn to at that particular time, rather than feeling guilty about how long it takes me to complete any particular journal. Alongside those, I have another 2 art journals on the go currently, and these are just ones that I use as and when I want to. This is a Strathmore art journal, and so I've been using this since July 22, and I've nearly finished this one now. In fact, I think I've got, just one more double page spread to do, and then I will share a flip through of it. So I shared a video for this on YouTube, but I've got all sorts of different things on the go in here. But that's just really when I want to kind of play with a new idea perhaps, or if I've got some leftover jelly plate prints, I might pop them in there. And this one I use in exactly the same way. It's another Dilutions art journal. I kind of wanted to try out the Strathmore and I've got on really well with it, but I probably slightly prefer the Dilutions just because of how well it lays flat. And again, sometimes it's practicing things before I film a class, or just trying out new ideas in here, just somewhere to have fun. And I maybe pick that up once a month, something like that. Doesn't tend to be an awful lot more than that. So not really a journal, but I've got my Royal Talons sketchbook here. And I've not done loads in here. I actually got this after joining Katie Moody's Patreon, and this is one of the page spreads that I completed after catching up on one of her recent live streams. But I have been trying out like a little sketch per day in here. I've only started that this month, and I don't know how long I'll be able to keep up with that for, but I really enjoyed it, and that was some sketching that I did outside recently when we went out for breakfast. So just something that I'm keen to do more on. Again, that was from following a Katie Moody video. I've got some more of hers that I want to catch up on. So lovely sketchbook and a nice place for me to play and try drawing things that are well outside of my comfort zone. This journal is a new one for me at the moment. Well, actually, the notebook itself is quite old. I've had it for a long time, but I'd rarely used it, so I decided to use this for my Flowers Fest classes. I'm one of the teachers for that, so I put down a coat of gesso and then painted the flowers on top because I thought that would be perfect for Flowers Fest. So I've taken some of the lessons already and I've got those in here. So I do often have journals that are specific for different classes that I'm taking, things I want to explore. So there'll be far more pages in here than I'll need, but already with some of the lessons I've done different things twice with the same one. So this was Francisca Nunes, where we experimented with melting wax onto papers. So you can see they're really transparent there. And I didn't love how my pages came together, but I loved the technique. So then I had another go with just doing one sheet. This is normal printer paper that I melted wax onto, and now it's lovely and transparent. So yeah, I'll probably use this for exploring more ideas once Flower Fest is finished and taking some of them a little bit further in my own style. So I've just got a couple left. So I've got this one, which is a Jackson's Art sketchbook. One of my kind of passion projects is detailed botanical sketching. So this is something I've been doing in here, but really just as and when I have the time. I kind of go in a little spurt. This was February, I did those. Then we're into March. And then I didn't do any for a while, and these two I've done in July. So I'd absolutely love to fill up this whole book with these botanical sketches. I really enjoy doing it. Obviously they're quite time consuming, but I find them really relaxing to do. So that's just kind of a passion project for as and when I have the time. And finally, you're probably pleased to know, is my Moleskine watercolor book. And this I typically use for creating tutorials for Patreon. So again, on botanical sketching on the whole, but obviously I can use watercolor on top of them in here. So I really enjoy creating these, and I break it down into a step-by-step PDF each month so that I've got those there ready to share on Patreon. And something I absolutely love doing, and the Moleskine watercolor book is really good. So I hope that kind of helps you to see what I'm using and how often. As you can see on this is just once a month that I've been using this for putting the tutorials together. But I'm somebody who likes having lots of choice. I enjoy creating in all sorts of different styles, and I have, I guess, different needs at different times of what I want to play with, and then different types of paper which will suit that kind of project. If you've got any questions, please do leave them down below. As always, I want to say a massive thank you to everybody who's joined me over on Patreon. Well, thank you ever so much for watching. I hope you're doing really well, and I look forward to speaking with you really soon in my next video.